Hi readers, welcome back to my channel, Lila Wanders and Reads. My name is Lee and I am here again this week to tell you about a mini book haul, and really this was more about my experience. I'm happy with the books I picked out, but I had an event this past weekend up at a place about an hour from my house. I don't go there that often because it is that far away, and if I go up there for lunch or something, then by the time I get home, I'm hungry again. But I had an event to attend, so I was looking around. I knew they had a bookstore in the main historic district of town. That's going to be a later post. But I also saw they had a Books-A-Million. Now, I haven't been to a Books-A-Million probably in over a decade, but my memory of the Books-A-Million was large, clean, bright, pretty friendly. Not as, in my opinion, as great as Barnes & Noble, but I still had a pleasant memory of it. Not so this time. This time, I get all the way up there, I go in, they don't have a bathroom. It's been an hour, which fine. Not every place has to have a bathroom, but all the Books-A-Millions that I've been in before did. So no worries, I could go to the food line next door, but it did hamper my browsing experience. But then, so I browsed, I picked out my books, I get to the counter to check out. No one really even greets me. They take my books, and then they start having this conversation between themselves, and the guy who took my books hands them over to another register, and again, no acknowledgement of me, nothing, just that I'm just, like, there. She checks out my books, I pay for them, she doesn't say thank you, kiss my ass, go to hell, or anything. So I will not be going back to that Books-A-Million ever. Why not? Why, when I can get greeted and friendly service at my local Barnes & Noble? But I did find some books that I had not been able to find locally, and here's what they are. First, you know I'm on a Kristen Hanna kick this year. There was another book I almost bought, but I did not, and I had such an unpleasant experience. Not bad, but just not pleasant there that I won't go back to get the other book that I saw there. Anyway, Kristen Hanna, Summer Island. Years ago, Nora Bridge walked out on her marriage and left her daughters behind. She has since become a celebrity radio talk show host and newspaper columnist, beloved for her moral advice. Her youngest daughter, Ruby, is a struggling comedian who uses her famous mother as fuel for her bitter, cynical humor. When the tabloids unearth a scandal in Nora's past, her career implodes and Ruby gets her big break. She's offered a fortune to write an unflattering tell-all article about her mother. Under false pretenses, Ruby returns home to talk to the woman she hasn't spoken to for almost a decade. Home. To the house on Summer Island where Ruby grew up, a place filled with childhood memories of love and joy and belonging. There, as Ruby is reunited with old friends, what began as an expose evolves into an exploration of her family's troubled past. In picking apart her mother's life, Ruby has no chance but to examine her own. As the magazine deadline draws near and Ruby finishes the story that has begun to feel like an act of brutal betrayal, she's forced to make a choice, not about the past, but about the future. The truth isn't as simple as she'd once imagined. So I do look forward to reading this. I'm enjoying exploring the Kristen Hanna universe, and I will get to that sometime. Next up is another book by an author who's not sold in my local Barnes & Noble. I had ordered one of her books online, and I stumbled across this other one in the wild. If I hadn't, I wouldn't have probably bought it because I have so much else that I've ordered online. But that is Allie Malinenko's Disappearing House. Allie's got a book called Broken Dolls coming out in 2025. Really looking forward to reading that. Like I said, I read Ghost Girl, enjoyed that. This is middle grade fiction. And let me tell you about it. For as long as anyone could remember, there wasn't a house at the dead end of Juniper Drive. Until one day, there was. When Jack first sees the house, she's counting down to the 5-year anniversary of her cancer diagnosis, when she hopefully will be declared NED, or no evidence of disease. But with the house appearing and her hands shaking and a fall off her bike, Jack is starting to wonder if these are symptoms or if something stranger is happening. When 2 classmates dare Jack and her friend Hazel to enter the house, she knows the front door is the way in, but it is definitely not the way out. The house wants something from her, and she won't be able to leave until she figures out what. I can't wait to read this, but I probably will, because I have so much else to read. And one of the things I'm going to do is try to get myself under control again. I've had 2 big weeks of just a shit ton of books that I bought, and I need to read more of what I have, because there's books I was looking forward to that now are in piles on my table. Finally, I don't believe I've read this one. If I did, I don't have a copy of it. It is Paul Tremblay's The Disappearance at Devil's Rock. I've read from him The Cabin at the End of the World, A Head Full of Glass, Survivor's Song? No, that's not the name of it. Let me find it. Yes, it is the name of it. Survivor Song. I have The Pallbearers Club. Haven't read that yet. And he's got another book coming out this month called Horror Movie, and that one I've got pre-ordered. So I will probably not read this right now because I want to read Horror Movie first, and I don't like to read more than one book by the same author in a month. So if I read Kristen Hanna this month, I will wait again to read her next month. Anywho, let me tell you about Disappearance at Devil's Rock. 13-year-old Tommy Sanderson is missing. Elizabeth and her young daughter Kate struggle to comprehend her son's disappearance. The police have no leads. Tommy's 2 friends may not be telling the whole truth about the night they were hanging out in Borderland State Park near the landmark local teens called Devil's Rock before he vanished. Strange events follow. Elizabeth believes she sees Tommy's ghost in her bedroom. Kate and other residents claim a figure peers through their windows at night. Random pages torn from Tommy's journal mysteriously appear, revealing an introverted teenager obsessed with the phantasmagoric, the loss of his father, killed in a drunk driving accident a decade earlier, a folktale involving the devil and the Borderland woods, and a horrific incident that Tommy believed connected them all. As the search grows more desperate and the implications of what happened became more sinister, no one is prepared for the shocking truth about Tommy's disappearance at Devil's Rock. I'm prepared. Anywho, bad or not really pleasant experience at the Books A Million, so I won't go, but pretty good book choices, I think. Although they didn't have the large selection that my local Barnes & Noble has, they did have a different selection, so that's always fun. Anywho, that is all for me. I'd love to hear what you're reading, and wish you happy reading.